Greetings everyone and welcome to another episode of SwampFox Magfed. I hope you guys are having a positive and productive day and you are ready to jump into another exciting video. Today we have something special for you. We're going to be reviewing my gear bag for the 2022 season. And so I haven't done one of these before. I've always wanted to, but by the time I get around to it, we're halfway through the year and to me it just didn't feel appropriate to post a gear bag video halfway through the season. So even though it's March now, we're going to go ahead and do a review video for you guys so you can see what we're going to be rocking this year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Without further ado, we are rocking the JT Proflex for 2022. Last year I was using the Bunker King Command Mask. I did really enjoy it, but this year I decided to bring this thing back out. Now, I've had this, I think I received it for Christmas either in 2003 or 2004, and so this is my original Proflex from the early 2000s, so it's always really cool to be able to pull something out and have it still work. The foam's starting to go just a little bit, so I'll probably end up refoaming it here this year, but for the most part I just had to throw a new lens in it that I ended up getting from Paintball Retro. If you haven't checked them out, jump on their site, we'll leave a link down below. But I got the new lens from Paintball Retro, and then I ended up getting one of the Project JT straps. I think it's like a 1 of 100. And I'm rocking that, and so it's a really cool build. I've got a few other parts and pieces, so chances are I'll kind of have a mix match set up with a few different builds this year, but for right now this is the one that I'm currently rocking. And then I also have the GoPro mount on the top here. It's an HK Army mount, and that's what I am using to run my camera. But this year I'm trying to kind of switch the footage up a little bit, so trying to kind of go away from the first person, see if we can't get some 360 footage in, just to kind of change things up for the season. So next up is the marker. Now you guys, if you watched the last video or when I posted a week and a half ago, we went over my marker. This, if you'll notice, this configuration's a little different. I'm getting ready to go to a Magfed only event this weekend, and so this is my first strike setup. So if you'll notice, it's just a little bit different from the last setup you guys saw, because that one's a little bit more geared towards round ball. So this is what I end up rocking with a variation of the optic. I've only used it, this is only my second time using this, but it's been good so far. And then I have a Nemesis on the front here. But yeah, leave a comment down below if you'd like to see a video of my first strike setup with the marker. If you guys want to see that, let me know. I'll make another video and we'll kind of compare the two markers, and that way you guys can see just what specifically the differences are when I'm playing each type of format. Alright, next up we've got the HK Army gear bag. Now I ended up getting this thing a couple years ago and it has been great. I've usually had the huge gear bags. This is a little bit more of the minimalist one, which I really enjoy because it allows me to only fit in here what I need for the day. I'm really bad about buying a lot of gear and having a lot of extra parts and pieces, and so having a minimalistic bag just makes sure that I don't lose sight of not collecting too much. There was a time where I liked to collect a lot of stuff, but right now I'm trying to run a little bit more streamlined, so the less stuff I have the better. But I think I've had this bag for about 2 seasons. My wife bought it for me for my birthday in 2020. So this is my second year with the bag and it's still holding up great. All those zippers and buttons and seams and everything are working really well, and I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of this bag. I don't normally switch up gear bags a whole lot. Normally I'll get one and I'll have it for a few years, and so this has definitely held up really well, and I am happy to run it. Now the only issue that you'll find is if you are a Magfed player, they do have a marker case, like a built-in marker case, And depending on what type of marker you're running or how you have it set up, a Magfed marker may not be as compatible to fit on the inside. But other than that, every other function that is in this bag works great. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump onto the inside here. So this upper portion here, I just keep miscellaneous stuff. Normally it's just my microfibers. I normally put my clean ones in here so that way I know I've got 5 or 6, and so I usually put one in my pack to carry with me onto the field, and then I'll keep all the clean ones here. That way I can rotate them out, especially with cameras and lenses. It makes it just a little bit easier. So we've gone over mask. Let's go ahead and go over headgear. So typically when I play, I rock a couple different things. Depending on temperature, I try to wear a beanie most of the year, but sometimes in the summer, especially with long hair, it gets super, super hot. So typically I'll run a Sandana, got the little Velcro, and it's just a head wrap, there's no mesh on it. And I'll usually rock this as my base layer. And then I've just got your typical brown beanie, and I like it because it's just a little bit longer. So I get a little bit more slack in the beanie itself, and then I get more bounces, which I like. And then for my headbands, like everyone else, I've been rocking Hormesis. So I use a combination of Sandana and Hormesis, and I only have 3 bands. I'm not one of those people that collects and has 1.5 million bands. I have 3, and that's all I run. I've got a little bit more of this like brown one here. This is the first one I've got. It's a shorty, and this is a little bit more subdued when I'm playing out in the woods and I'm trying to be a little more sneaky. I also have a green lion. Let me see here. And what I really like about this is it has that vertical tag and the green lion on the back, and it's not as bright. So I can still rock this out in the woods and not feel like I'm standing out. And this one has a little bit more meaning. This is the first drop I landed, and so I've always wanted to land a drop. So this is the one, was my first drop, and so I will rock this one forever. This one I purchased when I really wanted one, and I bought this one through resale, so I paid a little bit more for this one. And then this last one that I work in as well, this is my Dynasty Edition Hormesis. Now this one's got some magic to it. I ended up winning this one through the Spick and Span show. All those times I watched the Push video series, I ended up answering a trivia question the quickest, and I answered it correctly, and I was the fastest one, and so I won a Dynasty band, which is super cool. Now, I'm one of those people that believe there's magic in gifts. This one was given to me specifically from the boys in Dynasty, so this will never, ever, ever be for sale. I've worn this thing only twice, and this thing has got some magic in it. So I always feel like, especially when something's given to you, it holds just a little bit more magic because it is a gift. And so these are my 3. Now I may get one down the road. I'm supposed to be getting a Dynasty band this month, and so if it ends up being, because I'm in the Dynasty Champions Club, and so if it ends up being the same one that I already have, I'm going to trade it for something. But as of right now, I don't know what I'm going to be trading it for, so we'll just go ahead and hold on to that. So we're going to set this aside. Okay, so next up here, in addition to the mags, I think you saw the magazines. I run the CF20 mags. I run these like everyone else. Mine are a little bit more customized. I go ahead and stipple my tag in the bottom so they don't get mixed up, because I feel like everyone's using these days. I do a little bit more of that spray pattern as well, just to give it a little bit more uniqueness. And then I do a little texturing. I don't know if you can see that, but I do a little texturing on the front as well. Now, what I like about this is it gives me a positive contact point. So when I'm playing and I need to keep my eyes on what I'm doing, as long as I hit that texture, I know which part of the mag is forward facing. So if I need to kind of keep my eyes on what I'm doing and do a reload at the same time, I don't have to flip around and take my eyes off to figure out the orientation of the magazine. All I have to do is find the little stipple, and then boom, we're good. And so that's what I really appreciate about that. And then as well with the pod pack that I use, it works out because it helps just give a little bit more texture so I don't lose any magazines while I'm running around. So that is one of the things I use. This is the second piece that I use here. Now, this is an ADN drum mag. I think it holds between 40 and 45 rounds, depending on if you're using first strikes or round ball. But this is my kind of in between for when we're doing Magfed games. You know, if I want to shoot a little bit more first strike, or I need a little bit more firepower on the initial push, or whatever the case may be, this thing comes in handy, and I really, really like it. It's just a simple spring tension on the back here, and then you take off this whole plate, and you just load these things in, tighten it down, and you are good to go. So this is my kind of mid-range attack drum. So tops, jerseys. Normally I wear only camo, but I had a jersey made this year. There's a video coming out on this soon. I'm in the Dynasty Champion Club, as I mentioned before, and their February gift was a custom jersey. And so I don't always play in areas that allow me to wear brighter colors, but when I do, I definitely like to rock this thing. So this is the only like jersey I keep in my bag. It's just a Dynasty Champions Club jersey here, which is super cool. And then it's got the SwampFox on the back with the double dragon. We've got some cool sponsors and stuff on the side. But this here is really like the only jersey that I'll have. And the only reason I've got it this year is because it was part of the whole program that we're in, and it's super, super comfortable. But other than that, I mean, most of the time we play in the woods. Like this weekend coming up, for example, we'll be playing, and so I usually end up wearing, got a dye camo top. This is normally what I typically rock. It's a little bit baggier, so I get a lot of bounces, and then it's got some cool Velcro on the side, so that way I can put, you know, my patches and things like that. I like that it's a crew top too, so you just get the zipper and it's just a pullover. And the camo just works really well. I mean, it's not too dark and not too light, breaks up really well, and it doesn't get super, super hot. So summertime, it's a good top. Wintertime, it's kind of cool to layer with, but this is typically my go-to. And then as a backup, sometimes I'll rock this. Wintertime mostly is when I wear this one here. I've got myself just a Renegade tiger stripe canvas top. Now this is a lot heavier. Anyone who's worn Renegade stuff before, you just know it's just a heavier canvas material. It holds up well. It is a little bit darker, which I enjoy, and it's just got that old school kind of flair to it, which I really, really like. It is very thick, so typically this is like my go-to winter season, especially on the East Coast. It gets really, really cold, so this is something I can layer up with well and still get some good camouflage with, and it gives me a little bit of that old school flair. So pants. Pants, I run the same pants. I bought these 2 years ago in 2020, and they're just the HK Army. It's got the skulls on it. You know, it's part of their tribute pants. And I like them. They're joggers. The only thing I wish it had on it is I wish it had a little spot to hold squeegee, because it has no squeegee spot. But, I mean, I'm starting to lose, after 2 years of wear, I'm starting to lose a little bit of the protectiveness on the bottom near the ankle zippers. But other than that, you know, this thing's held up really well. Both of them. So I have a pair of the browns, and then somewhere I've got a pair of the greens. And so typically I'll vary those depending on the season. But these are my two main pants for this year. Now, I am currently on the hunt for some JT collaboration pants with weapons. I think it's like the HD3s. I'm trying to find a pair of those because those look absolutely awesome, but I have not yet. So, but that's neither here nor there. But the pants I got, they work great, and we're gonna keep using those. As far as protective gear goes, I've got the HK Army elbow pads, and these work really well. I don't always wear them, just depends. Wintertime I'll sometimes wear them. And during the summer, if I'm just wearing a t-shirt, depending on how hot, I'll sometimes wear them just because it gives me a little bit extra bounces. But truthfully, I'm not playing as aggressive and sliding and hip jumping around, so these are just kind of hit or miss. These though, these are my carbon SC bottoms. These are a must. I wear them every time. They are my absolute favorite and most essential piece, just because it's one unique piece. It gives you hip, knee, and groin protection, and they work as compression too. They're great during the summer, great during the winter, and I really dig it. I like a lot of stuff that Carbon makes. I think they just take the time to fill a gap in the industry, and they go above and beyond. So big fan of Carbon SC bottoms. They are essential. If you wear nothing else, at least get the bottoms. Protect your jewels, protect your knees, protect your hips, and you do get bounces as well. I've also got my DJI Mavic Mini, my drone, so that way, weather permitting and it's not super crazy, I can get some drone footage of the field and things like that. Recently, the wind has been absolutely awful, and so I haven't been able to get any footage, but we're hoping this spring we'll get some good drone footage. And then last but not least, my pack. Now this is that Carbon beta project they're working on, the Magfed pack. I love it, absolutely freaking love it. I've worn a Whiskey 2.4 chest rig, I've built battle belts, I've kind of done multiple configurations, and this is extremely comfortable. I've been playing paintball since the late 90s and always rocked a pod pack, and so this is kind of that cool in between, especially in the summer months when it's hot. You can't be wearing a chest rig because it's too freaking warm. This is nice, you know, it gives you, I do my admin pouch, my squeegee holder, 6 bags, and I can still put something up here. So this is what I am rocking this year, and it is absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. And other than that, like, I keep a couple knickknacks, you know, I've got armbands, color armbands, got like deodorant, some hair ties. That's really about it. Store some batteries and things like that, but all in all, that is my gear bag for 2022. So if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you guys very much. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that you saw, or if you want me to do a specific review on one of the items in the bag. I'd be more than happy to do it for you. Other than that, we appreciate you guys. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, it all helps. Thank you guys very much for supporting the channel, and we will see you on the field.